Call this meeting to order on Monday, August the 4th. I want to welcome everyone. Very glad to have with us tonight Pastor Christian Salazzo. It's pretty close. I should have gone with just Christian. Life Church of Smyrna Assembly of God is going to come forward to give our invocation, also lead us in the pledge of the flag. So would everyone please rise.
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, on behalf of my pastor, many of your friends, Shell Osmond and Life Church Smyrna, it's an honor to be with you this evening. If you'd be willing, we bow our heads before the Lord. Father, we begin tonight by giving thanks. We owe you, Lord, our gratitude and our thanks for the freedom we have as citizens, for the freedom to elect leaders from among us to govern and to make decisions, for the rights to speak, to the process through venues such as these. We are grateful. So, Lord, we give thanks tonight for our great country, for this great city and this community that we call our home. Father, I know that I speak for the leaders in this room tonight when I say it's our heart's desire to lead with wisdom, to lead with integrity, and to lead with a character that speaks of our commitment to honor what's right, to speak of what's pure, and to hold fast to that which is true. Lord God, I pray that you would grant these leaders tonight that wisdom so that they may lead you as you would, as that they would lead as you would have them lead tonight. May our city and may our community be a better and a stronger place as a result of the convictions and the decisions that these leaders make. It is in your great name that we present our thanks and our requests to you. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. For those folks that are looking for a church or new to the community and want to change, to the folks at Life Church, Smyrna Assembly of God, which is over on King Springs Road next to Griffin Middle School. We do not have any agenda changes. Mayor's report would have nothing. We're going to go forward, which is land issues, zonings, and annexation. A 2014-240, approval of waiver for development fees for Barra Enterprises, 0.83 acres, land lot 492, 2261 Dixie Avenue, Barra Enterprises. Mr. Taylor, the background, please.
Mr. Mayor, you may recall that in May of 2014, the city annexed a portion of Barrow Enterprises into the city limits. This was an annexation that was targeted by the city, and one of the reasons why we were able to get them to annex was because we were talking about some development incentives that we could provide them. And so that's what's before this board tonight. They're asking for a waiver of $4,524 of records fees, and that amounts to $350 for a records fee, $3,750 for the permit cost, $324 for plan review, and $100 certificate of occupancy. And based on the values of the new improvements, staff is estimating that we'll get payback in approximately 2.5 years from that. So this is something we certainly do recommend approval for.
Ms. Terry Nolowich represents that district.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, Barrow Enterprises, they are undertaking some fairly significant and substantial renovations and additions to their site, which are going to be, I think, pretty transformative for that stretch of road along the east side of Atlanta Road when you're headed north past Windy Hill. It's going to be a good thing for this area. It's going to improve things tremendously visually and is going to, I think, incite some other economic development opportunities in that area. And so I am happy to support this and would like to move at this time to approve item 4A, which is the approval of 2261 Dixie Avenue as the target property and approval of the waiver for development fees for Barrow Enterprises. This is a 0.83 acre land lot, 492, 2261 Dixie Avenue. Again, the applicant and the people who will be receiving these incentives are Barrow Enterprises.
Have a motion and a second by Ms. Bluestein to approve this waiver of development fees. Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please vote. One more. It's approved 6-0. Miss Pritchett had a death in the family, and she's out of state. She's not here tonight. All right. Item 5A, privilege licenses, 2014-233. Public hearing, approval of a license request, 2014-233 beer, wine, and liquor package, 1003 Windy Hill Road. Ray's 5 Star Inc. doing business as Ray's Liquor Store. Shakit G. Kasa as owner agent, relocating from 1055 Windy Hill Road. Is the applicant here? Okay. In the background, Mr. Taylor, please.
Mr. Mayor, this item is pretty straightforward. Ray's Liquor Store has been located on at 1055 Windy Hill for quite a number of years, and they are looking to relocate their business to 1003 Windy Hill, which is about 4 doors to the west, I believe it is, from the current location. And that is a location that is not currently licensed to serve alcohol. Since it is a new location, then that it's required to come before this body for approval. Sirakji Casa will continue to be the registered alcohol agent responsible for sale of alcohol. He has maintained a certification for alcohol management, and we do recommend approval.
Is the applicant here? If you please step forward. This is a public hearing. Is there anyone here that's in opposition to that would like to make any public comment concerning this issue? Let the record show there is none. You can come forward. This is in Miss Terry Nulowich's ward district. Scott, does he need to be sworn in or anything, or is he? Oh, just for record, tell us who you are. Your name.
Oh, Sierra Casa.
Okay. Okay, Ms. Nulowich.
Thank you, Mr. Koss. I know you are clearly not new to Smyrna, and you definitely understand what it means to do business here and to sell alcohol here, and you understand that we do sting operations. I know you've maintained your certification, and again, I'm perfectly comfortable with this, but I don't know if you have any other questions. I just want to make sure that you do understand how everything operates, and I think that you do. This is,
Yes.
yeah. So,
Any questions? This is just moving down the street, right?
Always trying to do police.
You're just moving down the street.
Yeah, it's just 4 doors down, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Mr. Casa, here. Thank you for doing business in Smyrna, and thank you for reinvesting in Smyrna for your new location. We hope you have a lot of successes. As Chair Nulowitz pointed out, the franchise is a privilege, and the police department's very rigorous in Smyrna at trying to make sure everyone adheres to our goal of having safe streets, and we appreciate you adhering to that and having all of your staff adhere to that too. And those sting operations are to get the ones who aren't obeying the law, and we appreciate that you follow the law and you have your staff do it. So thank you for that
welcome.
adherence.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions, comments? Okay. Ms. Nulowich.
no, I don't have any further questions. Again, this is a little bit of a different situation than when we have a new applicant or someone who's never been before us before, but I know that you are very clear on how all of this works and on all of the requirements and everything that's required of you and of your staff. So this time I would like to move to approve item 5A, which is privilege license 2014-233. This is approval of privilege license request 2014-233 beer, wine, and liquor package. The address is 1003 Windy Hill Road. This is Ray's 5 Star Incorporated doing business as Ray's Liquor Store, Sirakji Casa as owner agent. And again, this store is relocating from a few doors down the road at 1055 Windy Hill Road.
Second.
A motion and a second by Mr. Fennell. Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please vote. One more. That's approved 6-0. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Item 6 is formal business. A is 2014-242, approval of a non-exclusive agreement between the City of Smyrna and Gas South for the Municipal Alliance Program and authorize the mayor to sign all related documents. Mr. Taylor, the background, please.
Mr. Mayor, we were approached by Gas South recently about becoming involved in their Municipal Alliance Program, which provides municipalities the opportunity to offer residents a 2 cent per therm discount off of each of Gas South's standard rate plans, as well as a waiver of the account establishment fee whenever an account is established. The rates and wait fees are available to new and existing Gas South customers live within the city limits, and in return, the city will receive a $12 upfront finder's fee for each new residential account open and $24 for each new commercial account. It's very important here to note that this is a non-exclusive agreement, meaning that if the city gets approached by another company under similar circumstances, then they have the same opportunities as well. But we have looked over the Gas South program and happy to recommend its approval.
That's Ms. Anotowicz again.
This is again. Yes, this is a program that several other cities throughout Metro Atlanta have done with, I think, good success. And again, this is a non-exclusive agreement. We discussed this as a council at great length in terms of making sure that this wasn't something that was giving any kind of special favor. And any programs like this that come forward in the future, no one receives any favor. What this does is allow residents to benefit from these types of programs, and the city benefits as well. So at this time, I would like to go ahead and approve item 6A. I'd like to move to approve, item 6A, which is item 2014-242. This is approval of a non-exclusive agreement between the City of Smyrna and Gas South for the Municipal Alliance Program, and authorized the mayor to sign all related documents.
Second. And motion second. I believe there's someone here from Gas South. If you want to come up and say something real quick, then we'll.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. My name is Phil Weatherly with Gas South. Appreciate the opportunity to be here tonight and very much appreciate your consideration of this item. As was mentioned, we have a nice track record with this program in a number of other jurisdictions over the past 7 years. We work very hard to be a valued, trusted partner of the communities we serve. We think City of Smyrna is well situated for the program, and we look forward to developing an effective program in South Cobb County.
Good deal.
Any questions?
Any new slogans on the horizon? Never mind.
We can work on, we'll work on that.
Yeah. Good deal. Good company. Good company. Okay. Any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please vote. 6-0. Thank you very much. Item B, 2014-248, is approval of Ward 5 appointment to the Tree Board. Danny Figueroa. Term expires August of 2016. This is Ms. Susan Wilkinson.
Yes, at this time I'd like to make a move to approve item 6B, 2014-248 for the approval of Ward 5 appointment to the Tree Board, Danny Figueroa, his term to expire August 2016. And he is a resident of Ward 5. And thank you for serving.
Have a motion. And a second by Mr. Welch. Is there any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please vote. Approved 6-0. Thank you very much. Item 7 is commercial building permits. We have none. Item 8 is consent agenda. Mr. Taylor, will you please read the consent agenda for council's approval?
We have a small consent agenda this evening with only 2 items. Item A is approval of the July 21st, 2014 mayor and council meeting minutes. And item B is an approval to purchase a 2015 Ford Explorer via state contract in the amount of $24,943.
Move approval.
Have a motion by Mr. Fennell and a second by
Second.
Mr. Lenica. All those in favor of the motion, please vote. It's approved 6-0. Committee reports will start tonight with Miss Andrea Bluestein.
For those of you who didn't make it to the birthday celebration Saturday night, you missed a good time. We had a little bit of rain, but it didn't stop, and I think more people came after the rain than were there at the beginning. So mark your calendar and try to make some of these events that we have in the city. I think the next one is the Jonquil Festival. I'm not exactly sure of the date, but you'll enjoy it. And then we had followed after that, it's Taste of Smyrna. So with that, I yield.
Ms. Terry Nolowich.
Yes, I have to admit I am one of those who was not able to attend the birthday celebration this weekend. I was out of town with family, and my children had their fingers crossed that it would be rained out because they were hoping for a rain date. But I am pleased that it was such a wonderful event. I heard from everyone who attended that it was just fantastic. And there are, in the meantime, we have a lot of other ongoing events like Food Truck Tuesdays, and I know we'll probably be hearing about the fresh produce market that continues every Saturday morning in the parking lot of First Baptist Church. But there is still a lot to do in Smyrna. I know school is back and fall is approaching, but the activities have not diminished in any way here in Ward 3 in downtown Smyrna. And with that, I yield.
Mr. Corky Welch.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have gotten several phone calls over the last month, 6 weeks, regarding Concord Road construction, and I want to give a little bit of an update on that project and just also a little information and encourage everybody out there. Some of the businesses along Concord, along the south side, are struggling a little bit, and the north side as well, but I encourage the citizens of Smyrna to get out and support these businesses. We want to keep them in business, and they are going through a tough time. I realize our contractor has some of them, there's no sidewalks in front of them, and there's signs and everything else. So I want to encourage you to get out and support these businesses. And for everybody's information, I realize that the contractor seems to be jumping around a little bit, but from our standpoint, we have little control over his schedule. We can tell him what has to be done, meaning the plans are there and the specifications are there, but we really can't tell him tomorrow we need you over here doing this, because that's interfering with his contract. But bear with us a little bit. They're working hard out there, and support our businesses along there. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Ms. Susan Wilkerson.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd like to make some announcements for the Smyrna Library. The Friends of the Smyrna Library are having their annual ice cream social this Sunday, August the 10th, from 2 to 4 p.m., and the children will receive a free scoop of ice cream and a make and take ice cream craft. The Friends will also have used children's books and canvas book bags for sale. The event is in the Smyrna Library meeting room. And also in September, there's a project coming. The Smyrna Library is hosting a One Book, One Community project in the month of September. And there will be events throughout the month to promote the book until Tuesday. It's about a wounded warrior and the golden retriever who saved him. Copies of the book are available for checkout at the library, and the event will include a visit from the author and his service dog. And that's on Tuesday in September. I don't have a date, but the details will be on the Smyrna website. Thanks so much. With that, I yield.
Mr. Wade Lenica.
Thank you, Your Honor. A number of things going on in Ward 6 in the city I want to report on. First, Tara Simon Studios had their grand opening Saturday a week ago, July 26. The studios are located at the corner of Dunn Street and Concord Road. They've refurbished an old 1910 house, maybe, very nicely, and done it up where once the road construction gets finished with their front yard, it's going to look very, very nice, and it's a great addition to the city. They saved that house and made a beautiful place out of it, and Tara Simon and her husband have moved to Smyrna and are living in Ward 6, so we welcome them and wish them good luck. Also want to wish good luck to the new principal at Campbell Middle School, Jonathan Tanner. He just started literally less than 3 weeks ago, hit the ground running, had a whole lot to do before school started. And those of you who have been in the education business can just imagine what that's like to go to a new school just literally a few weeks before, all the kids arrive. I'm very impressed with him. There was a meet and greet for him at Campbell Middle School last Tuesday. The event was scheduled to last an hour. It lasted an hour and 45 minutes because of all the number of people that turned out to meet him and welcome him and wanted to hear from him and see him and, you know, were concerned and cared about the school. And I think that's a great sign. The community is rediscovering Campbell Middle and is backing the school and supporting the school. And as a community, if we want our schools to succeed, that's what we have to do. We need to be involved in the schools. We need to support them. We need to support the faculty and staff and send our kids there and be involved in any way possible with our schools. Anyway, those of you who haven't met Mr. Tanner, I encourage you to do that, Dr. Tanner. I think he's going to be a great addition to the Smyrna family of principals that we have here, and I wish him and the faculty and staff there the best of luck for the coming school year. This coming Thursday, the Clay National Guard Center is going to dedicate a memorial wall to all the Georgia soldiers lost in the global war on terror. And they've been in touch with Smyrna and looked at our memorial and took some guidance and inspiration from us, and now have built a memorial near the National Guard Center there on the campus at Dobbins Air Reserve Base. Their ceremony this Thursday is at 1100 hours. I plan to attend, and you know, I think it's very appropriate for the National Guard headquarters to have a memorial like that on its grounds. This Sunday, KSB, Keep Smyrna Beautiful, will celebrate its 30-year anniversary. For all the volunteers, including Ann Kirk, our director, who started as a volunteer with me in my first council term back in the late 80s. Kathy Barton leading the group before her. It's been a great organization that has done an awful lot of good things for Smyrna in 30 years. They've won not only statewide first and second place awards with what they do, but in more recent years, they've won a number of national awards, first place, second place. Simply amazing the work that this group has done, in particular under Ann Kirk's leadership, but built on the foundation established by Kathy Barton, but most of all due to the dedicated volunteers. And if you were at the concert this weekend, you saw a number of Keep Smyrna Beautiful volunteers dressed in their green T-shirts that say "We Fight Dirty," and they were out there picking up trash and promoting recycling. And I saw them after the concert sorting through sacks of trash, picking out recycling items and putting them in separate bags. You can't buy that kind of dedication. You can't pay people to do that. Those folks, those volunteers, do it because they love what they do and they love this community. And I don't think we can ever thank them enough. But I'm going to try simply by saying thank you. Next Monday, the 11th, the Montclair Townhomes Homeowner Association is having their annual meeting. They've invited me to attend. I look forward to seeing those folks. Right next door under construction is the new Zaxby restaurant that was approved by the License and Variance Board a couple months ago. The community is very supportive of Smyrna and excited about what may be happening on Jonquil Plaza and, you know, all the things going on in Smyrna, and it'll be good to see those folks. Finally, on more of a sad note, it was announced last week that Emory Adventist Hospital at Smyrna will close on or before October 31st. That's a huge, terrible, awful loss for our community. Besides just the facilities themselves, the doctors, the nurses, the availability of care there, you know, they were involved in the community. They sponsored free seminars on various medical-related subjects. Over the years, they've done things like furnish free flu shots for city employees and for church members and other kinds of things in the community. They've got a lot of doctors and nurses and staff that live in our community, that their payroll money circulates in our communities and supports our local businesses. The emergency room that they have, the Adventist Health System has, I forget if it's 26, 27, 28 hospitals in their system. The emergency facilities at Smyrna were ranked typically number one out of all their hospitals all over the country. That was the best ER in Metro Atlanta. And we're going to miss that. We're going to miss that facility. We're going to miss everything about the hospital. I hate the fact that they're closing. I think whether you've ever used that hospital or not, having it here has been a huge part of our community. Smyrna is the 15th largest city in the state of Georgia. We're about to lose our only hospital. That's a big quality of life issue. I will say that a number of us are working to try to find what happens next. What does that campus become? What happens to the doctors that are located there? What happens to the staff and their jobs? Do they transfer internally or externally? Or we just right now have far, far more questions than we have answers. I've been promised a weekly phone call, an update from one of the Emory board members, and I'll use that to our best advantage. I've already contacted personally some other healthcare organizations to see if they would have an interest in operating that site. So far the answer is no, but that doesn't mean I quit. I'm going to keep going. There was a story in the paper last week that Congress passed a new VA funding bill, which was long overdue. And in that bill, supposedly, and I haven't seen the bill, so this is dangerous, but I'm going by what the media reported. There's $6.4 million, more or less, to build a new VA healthcare facility in Cobb County. And the initial thought was put it in North Cobb. My thought is put it in Smyrna. I want to fight for Smyrna and fight for our veterans and do what I can. And I'd much rather see a VA medical facility. If no other community hospital will go there, then let's get a medical facility and not have a super Walmart or something on the site, or have the site sit empty and do nothing for the community. So again, we have right now more questions than answers, but I can promise you I'm working diligently, and I know a number of us are, to try to replace that huge void that's going to be in our community. I hated to get that news last week, and we got it at the same time everybody else did. There was no advance word to the council. We heard the news through the media like everybody else, and maybe that's the way it should be. But anyway, if you know some folks at Emory Adventist, keep your thoughts and prayers with them, because they've got all the same questions we have and many more. With that, I yield.
Mr. Ron Fennell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to echo the sentiment Mr. Lineker just shared about the loss of a great partner in our community in Emory Adventist Hospital. There are a lot of fine men and women who've provided great care, a professionalism, and a service much needed by most of our region, not just the city of Smyrna residents, but having it close by, convenient, and helpful is going to be a great loss. Within our public safety structure, they have also partnered with us from the very beginning of our preparedness work. They partnered with us for the Joint Emergency Operations Center, very graciously and kindly, financially supported and offered us space within the hospital to serve as our alternative location of choice for that Joint Emergency Operations Center, and that will be a great, devastating loss for us that we're going to need to work to replace. But we will all be, as Mr. Lineker pointed out, we'll all be working behind the scenes to find an alternative to fill this very significant need in our community for a community hospital. Additionally, it's hot out there. It's dog days of summer are coming up. Car seat safety and kids in cars, we've seen a lot in the media. Our public safety personnel are attuned to that. Our fire department has a great program to help make sure that your car seats are installed properly. Do stop by or call the fire department, schedule an opportunity. If you see somebody who needs help, if you see a child in distress, our park rangers, our police officers, our firefighters will be there to help assist. They are trained and they know how to move swiftly to help mitigate a situation. So do like we're reminded to do on a regular basis. If you see something, say something. A citizen oftentimes will solve or at least alert somebody to a problem before it gets out of hand. That includes somebody in your neighborhood that you don't recognize, that you may not think ought to be there at the time of day they're there or doing what they're doing. Give law enforcement a chance to do their job and investigate it further. Also, with back to school comes school buses on our roads. It'll change our traffic patterns. I knew Mr. Welch talked about, our challenge with the road under construction projects that we have. Those are all good progress aspects of Smyrna, but it comes with a challenge with the additional congestion that occurs. And what I just try to help remind everybody, school buses are now installed with cameras, and you must stop for a school bus even if it's far on the other side of a 6-lane road under state law. So please obey those rules. Help keep our children safe as school starts back. When the time change occurs later in the fall, we'll just remind people about that as well. But right now, it's school buses are on the road, kids are moving around, they're very vulnerable, and they're oftentimes unattentive to the greater world, and it's an additional responsibility. And help our public safety personnel as they're directing traffic and they're helping to guide motorists safely as well. And if you see one of our public safety personnel, please do as I try to do every time and thank them for what they do 24/7, 365 on our behalf. Mr. Mayor, I yield.
Mr. Taylor, anything? Mr. Cochran? Ms. Graham? And before we do citizens input, I do want to just make a comment about Emory Adventist Hospital. A lot of times things happen, and they've been working on something, a big corporate entity like this, for maybe a year and a half. They've been talking about moving, and we never get a chance to really say what can we do to prevent this. We just get an announcement, and that's basically what happened. It's my hope that there'll be another hospital that'll come in there. 28,000 people used that emergency room last year alone, and where do they go from there? That's a lot of folks that either have to go to Cobb General, or I guess they'll go to Kennestone. But that is a big part of our community, and a lot of ideas right there. We're just trying to figure out which way to go and what they're doing. We have a little input into it, but not a whole lot. It's a business decision for them, and I'll tell you one thing, that the hospital business is very competitive, and we'll do the best that we can to try to get something that's even that was better. We had a great relationship with Smyrna Hospital from day one. Show cause hearings, we have none. Citizens input, we've got a couple of folks signed up. Howard Martin, 3435 Lee Street, Southeast. Politically correct and benefits.
Good evening. I'm Howard Martin, 3435 Lee Street, Smyrna. I've been a resident of this city for 51 years. I know when you're in the public's eye, or when you've been elected to an office, you have to be politically correct on a lot of things. Well, I don't. I'm not running for an office. I'm not in an office. And last Thursday, I come across something that is really appalling and insulting to me, of being married to a woman, and I said a woman, for 51 years. My thought of a union and a marriage is between a man and a woman. I don't care what anybody else says. I can prove it to you in the book that I read. And when I read this in the Smyrna paper the other day, July the 31st, big headlines, Smyrna eyes same-sex couple benefits. I went through this and read it 2 or 3 times, and I'm appalled that some of you right here on this body made the statements that you did. I don't know what's going to come about this. I don't know who's going to vote for what. Don't care. But I'd be ashamed to walk in my local church and know that I voted for something that is wrong. And the statement that was on one person made, that we have policemen and firemen that go out there and put their life on the line. That's correct. But a same-sex partner does not need the benefits that they get. If you want to do something for the police department and the fire department, give those guys a raise. I know most of them in this city. I talk to some of them every morning. When I worked and my wife worked, we had benefits from a company, but it was man and wife. I don't think that this body has the priorities in a line if you're going to address something like that. I don't think it's even necessary to even bring it up for a vote, because it's wrong. You know it's wrong. And there's not a one of you on this council that can look me dead in the eye and tell me that I'm wrong in what I'm saying. Thank you.
Thank you. Gary Nelson, 872 Chrysler Avenue, Code Enforcement.
Mr. Mayor and Council, I'm Gary Nelson, and I live at 872 Chrysler Avenue. Smyrna City Code number 80-2 says, no parking area may be used for the repair, dismantling, servicing, or long-term storage of any vehicles or equipment unless such use is permitted in conjunction with the approved use. I have a photo here of an old ice cream truck that has been sitting in the driveway in front of a residence in my neighborhood for at least 5 years. I have never seen it move. If anything ever fit this description of long-term storage, this is it. It's an eyesore in our neighborhood. During those years, I have made complaints to the city marshal and my council person at least a dozen times. When I spoke to the marshal about it, his answer was, it has a current tag. Maybe he doesn't know the ordinances that he is charged with enforcing, because it does not say anything about having a current tag. When I've spoken to my city council person about it, she sighs and shrugs her shoulders as if to say, well, I've tried, but I can't get anything done about it either. I don't understand that. But it's not the only vehicle in the neighborhood that is in violation of the city code. There are several others. Thank you very much.
That was the last person for.
Unfortunately, I didn't have a chance to sign, but I'd like to say something. My name is George McCurris. I just want to, as a past chairman of the Emory Adventist Hospital Board, I want to say that what Mr. Lennox and the City Council talk about, the partnership. There was a partnership with Smyrna Hospital. It exemplified everything that is good. It was clean, efficient. But as you know, Sunbelt Hospital they have a lot of hospitals around the country, and it's really one of economics. And I do hope and trust that, as Mr. Lennox said, and the mayor, there will be some way for us to preserve that great campus. It would be such a great asset to Smyrna. And I know the leadership, I know the chairman of the Emory Adventist Hospital very well, and I hope and trust. Thank you very much.
Okay. If there's no other business to be brought before this body, I declare this meeting adjourned. It looks like it's pretty close to 8:10. We're adjourned.